It's that time again.
Watch out!
Here it comes.
Watch out!
Here it comes.
Watch out!
Here it comes.
Watch out! Right there. Your attention, folks. We came here.
COURTSIDE Courtside Podcast. I'm your host, Wayno, and with me, the People's Champ, Vinrock. Vince, welcome back to the show.
Oh, heck yes. Good to be back.
Heck yeah. We are joined by Sydney's second richest man, Stu Benson.
Coming to you live from the city of Kingbogan. What up, guys? Doesn't that make Benson Sydney's third richest man now?
Oh, I don't know. Does it?
Yeah, slightly. I just actually checked that out. He's on just under $160 million worth of career earnings. So, yeah, it's a slight bump to number 3, but I should get him this week.
Few more auctions, you're there. Easy.
Yeah, I'll get it.
Lots of playoff talk to be had today on the show. But first, we are, of course, recording on Anzac Day, so I hope you all have a fantastic Anzac Day today. And look, this is not our regular scheduled recording time. So due to that, before we start recording, I would like to give just a parental sigh.
Yeah. That's collective from all three of us.
Yeah. Look, we all have multiple kids, so this was not easy, and that's all I got right now.
Tell you what, here's some advice for people. Don't get married and don't have kids. So, it takes courage to say that, especially when your wife's within earshot, but fuck them.
Oh, boy. Actually, before we do jump in, just like watching the playoffs this past week, I don't know about you guys, but it really just does feel to me anyway like there's a kind of a changing of the guard in the NBA. All your regulars, like potentially if we go through to the next round, we could potentially have a few mainstays, in the playoffs that could find themselves bumped. I mean, like your LeBrons, your Wades, Melos. It really does feel like there's a bit of a change going on in the NBA.
I have to agree with you, Waynus. But I've got to say, the team I'm most excited about, I think you know the answer, is those 76ers.
Woo.
Man, did you see earlier Josh Richardson just took out Ben Simmons' legs? Just want to throw that in there.
Oh, really?
And, yeah, up yours, Richardson. But Simmons got up. He's fine. He's tough. He plays Aussie rules. He's Australian. But yeah, look, the Sixers is actually probably the only team I'm really excited about. Worried about the Cavs, although hoping they get through because I like LeBron. Celtics, I think they're just would have been more excited if Kyrie was there. Without Kyrie, I think they're just making up the numbers. But keen to see what you guys think.
Well, let's jump into it. Let's get a dud series out of the way off the bat, shall we?
Let's.
Toronto, Washington, series tied 2-2.
It's tied 2-2.
It's 2-2. Man, I just don't care. Like, honestly, I should have listened to you. I should have listened to you too. I can't believe I'm saying this. I should have listened to you. Like, Toronto, the old hats on. They jumped out to a commanding lead. They look like they wet the bed. Is Bradley Beal even going to show up? Just a dud series to watch. Like, just some thoughts.
Yeah, we told you so. And Kyle Lowry, I've got no issue with DeRozan. Just want to say that off the bat. But Kyle Lowry, last game he had 19 points, shot the 3-ball pretty well. But 19 points. And he celebrates. He celebrates every time a 3 goes in, like, thank fuck that went in. It's hysterical. Every time he gets one, he's like, ooh, yes. It's just the same old with this bloody team. And it starts with Lowry. Like, DeRozan, he puts up the numbers. He's getting paid like a dude who should be performing in the playoffs. Kyle Lowry's getting paid a fair whack and just does not deliver in the playoffs. I'm sorry to say. And Ibaka as well. Happy with his rebounding. But Ibaka's getting paid a good whack as well, and this is not good enough. They were good enough to be 3-1 up now on this Wizards team.
Yeah, I mean, look, they finished first in the fucking Eastern Conference. That's not a light accomplishment. That's not a light accomplishment at all. And they look great the first two games. They look like the team that they're showing on paper, but man, foot off the gas. I mean, I do feel like this series is a little bit of a double-sided sword because matchup against the Wizards, I mean, this Wizards squad is better than 8th seed in the East. Do you know what I mean? And I know Wall's been out a bunch. I get that, but they're still better than the 8th fucking seed in the East. Give me a spell. I just think this is just same old Wizards as well.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think ordinarily, without injuries and without roster shake-ups, this is potentially your 4th versus 5th matchup. So they were probably destined to match up against each other anyway. It's just the way that injuries and the cards were dealt. So I think that we're probably going to get this series, I guess, regardless. But, no killer instinct from Toronto at all. I know that home court is meant to lift you. I've seen in the playoffs that for certain teams, that 6-man, that 20,000 people yelling does lift. But Toronto should be, on paper, head and shoulders decimating this Wizards team, and then let them back in the series. It doesn't bode well for their long-term prospects in the playoffs at all.
I think Drake can be blamed for
the
wall. He can, because he said they're going to sweep the Wizards. So why you want Drake at your courtside seats, I have no idea. He's a flog of a bloke. But blame Drake. You could have put him away early.
John Wall had an awesome couple of games though. Like, really reminds you. I know he can go quiet sometimes, or sometimes he's focused on assists. And I think that's to his detriment. He really is a small version of a shooting guard. But he's been just in attack mode. It's actually pretty cool to watch.
He hasn't even been top 10 this year.
Nah.
I mean, I know the injuries and everything, but
yeah, I think you're being a bit unfair. But that's you, Wayne.
Of course you do. Of course, I'm so shocked by that statement.
I just don't know what more you want from him. He missed so much this season. So
a player goes in injured, they get back on the court, and you just want to give him a big old hug every week.
I'm just not an asshole.
You've recorded me long enough to know that I am. Come on.
Yeah. Oof. You're getting worse.
Well, let's move to the next series. And that is, of course, Cleveland, Indiana. Another series that's gone back to 2-2. When we made our predictions about this, I think we all had this series pretty much going to 6 or 7 anyway. So, man, look, LeBron will not let Cleveland die. Indy got up early. I'm loving this series, though. This has been, like, a lot of fun to watch.
Great series. I think the Pacers really missed an opportunity. They should be up 3-1. They clawed themselves back. They had quite a significant deficit in the third quarter of Game 4, and they got in. They were leading the game with 2 minutes to go. An opportunity lost. I hope it doesn't come back to haunt them. And I think Victor needs to step it up a little bit and stop deferring.
Can Kevin Love when
did he retire?
Last week, just before the playoffs. He's like, I'm done. Please, Kevin Love, I'm putting it out there. I'm pleading, I'm begging. Could you please just turn up for these last few games? At least get out of the first round.
Or just get out.
$100 million they're paying this bloke. $100 million, and he's playing like Kwame Brown. Seriously, he's rebounding okay, but that is it.
He had the hand injury. Are you sure you don't want to give him a little pat on the bum for encouragement? Come on now.
This is why you're a dick. J.R. Smith, how he survives on this team, I have no idea. There is no one helping this bloke. Clarkson, understand he's a playoff virgin, but you've had 4 games now. Pull your finger out. Larry Nance has been serviceable. Rodney Hood, just play him at home. He can't play away. Just don't even make the trip. Save the plane ticket. Does not turn up. And how is LeBron not in talks for MVP? I'm so frustrated with this Cavs team.
Isn't he not?
It's all about Harden, and it shouldn't be because, oh my God. It's one on 5.
Yeah. Well, let's save that one. We've got that series coming up in a minute. I was just about to ask you, actually, before you jumped into that, Vince, is like, what has been your take on, this young team? I mean, that's been the biggest, I suppose, backstory behind this Cavs squad right now. It's like, a lot of their vets that they do have on their team aren't living up to par. They did make the change through, the middle of the season, and now they've got all these young pieces, and, I kind of feel like that's going to be the undoing, these younger pieces. I just got to say, I know a lot of people have, obviously very strong opinions about him, but I just love the way, look, he's a dick of a guy. I give you that. but I love the way Lance Stevens plays LeBron. It's physical, it's in his face, it's... No one... I don't know another player in the league who plays LeBron like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, with that physicality.
Deshaun used to.
Yeah. Well,
and Ron Artest.
not with the tie-ups, though. Maybe Artest, but I don't think Stevenson was... Stevenson was always in his face, but... Just the constant tie-ups, the constant, like, you know, he really wants to guard the dude. You know what I mean? He really wants to get into his head. And
you know why? He was born ready.
That's right.
Born ready. Love the kid.
He's so good. He's so much fun to watch.
I got no problem with the way he's playing LeBron. I mean, yeah, I love it. He's got the balls to do it. I don't think a lot of players would. But these young guys that the Cavs got, I loved the trade. And I think if LeBron stays, I think next season Cleveland will surprise a lot because they're all going to be used to each other a bit more, and they're going to tinker with the roster. But these young blokes really needed a guy like Kevin Love to play well, and it's sort of just to sort of... Well, if I was that young bloke, I'd want that bit of confidence getting off these older blokes like Kevin Love and J.R. Smith. And because if they're playing well, I just think it makes their job easier in the playoffs. Yeah. And Kevin Love has just stunk it up big time, which is a shame.
It's hard to believe, though, that come, you know, the second season, that looking down the roster, having Dwayne Wade, Jay Crowder and Derrick Rose on that bench wouldn't be better than what they've currently got now. Do you think it would? I do. I think if they just stayed the course, I think they'd be better off for it in the playoffs.
Yeah, definitely. I think IT probably would have been ready to go by now.
Yeah, I don't know. I think management have really... I mean, yeah.
Well,
it's still early, but it just feels like they really sabotaged the season.
I think, like we said, though, at the... Sorry, Vince. I think, like we said... Like we said when the trade went down, though, this trade is also a part hindsight trade. Do you know what I mean? This trade is part of... I don't think they believe LeBron's coming back. This trade is a good trade because it's like it gives Cleveland youth and gives them life after LeBron.
So you mean a foresight trade?
Yes, exactly.
Not a hindsight trade. Right, okay, gotcha.
Stretching out my collar right now. You can't see it on the podcast, but...
Benson, it's a double-sided sword.
Hey, don't throw rocks at stones, all right?
Hey, as long as Lance Stevens is looking after LeBron, then we're good.
Sorry, Vince,
the problem is they got Dwayne Wade, and I think we all thought it was going to be the Dwayne Wade that was going to give him 20 points a night, and they probably got Dwayne 2 years too late.
They got the Dwayne Wade who's not playing like Dwayne Wade now in Miami. I mean...
Yeah.
He hasn't been that good in Miami either. I mean, he's had a couple of good games, but I think he's done.
Yeah, I agree, but he can still kind of in a close game he can push you over, and he did that. He almost did that again the other night against Philly as well. He had another 20-plus point outing, and he was in those spots where vets just know where to go. He got some charges and did some of those things that the younger heads don't do, and just not through lack of skill. They haven't been there before. I just think that playoff Wade might have helped this team. I was going to say I still think the Pacers get them.
I agree.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm sticking with the Cavs.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well,
flip of the coin, two-sided sword.
Well, let's jump now to a matchup. I know Vince is dying to find out who wins today, and that is, of course, the Philadelphia 76ers taking on the Miami Heat. Philly currently playing... They're playing now? Is it game on now?
It's all tied up at halftime.
Yeah, so tie game at halftime. Philly leading the series 3-1. Just, man, if you're not watching this series, just stop following basketball because it's been fantastic.
Yeah. If you've got a job, quit your job just so you can watch this game. or try and become Hassan Whiteside, and then you get to watch it contribute nothing, and you get good seats. Wow, what has happened to that guy? Like, I get it. Actually, I don't get it. Actually, he could be helping them big time against Embiid, and even just if he goes out there and rebounds his ass off, blocks some shots, and gets some garbage points, but he doesn't even do that.
He can't stretch the floor. That's the problem. Yeah. We said it last show with him. That's the biggest difference between him and Embiid. On a good day, Whiteside could probably match Embiid in the paint, like as far as skill set and being a presence, but the difference is Embiid just slaughters it. Embiid can hit the outside three if need be. I mean, that's where it dries up. The problem with Whiteside is when he gets pulled for a game, because as we all know here, it's all about matchups come playoffs, and that's why Spo can't play him right now. Is that he sulks and then he gives them nothing when he is on.
But
Yeah, it's an energy thing and it's a lack of. But it is weird, though. You would think that given the matchup and given what he can bring to this team, why not just go beast mode and rebound every single ball inside and challenge and block and just, concede that you're probably not going to be a part of the offense in a roster matchup like this. But just leave it on the court like it's just, for my money, watching these games, and I've watched all of them, I just think he's getting boxed out by smaller players. He's getting beaten to balls that he shouldn't. It seems like he's totally checked out of not only the series, but the team.
Did we fear this when he got his contract?
I don't know.
I feel like we mentioned it.
We've touched on this before, we've definitely touched on this. I don't know if we brought it up then, but we definitely touched on it before on the show. Like his attitude and his sulking, and I think if it came down to it, push come to shove, I think Pat Riley's back and Coach Spo every time. So I don't think there's much to worry about. But I mean, man, this series, man, Ben Simmons, man.
He's a horse.
My goodness. I'm loving the exchanges with him and James Johnson going at each other. I'm loving the respect that Wade's showing this young Philly team, and it hasn't been flawless. They've made mistakes, but they just seem to have enough to turn the tides, and this series could be over by today.
The thing I love about this team is they genuinely have the belief that they can beat anyone. They don't just they talk it and they go out and do it. I honestly, they're probably. They're going to go. I reckon they're going to go into the finals.
Ooh, big call.
Yeah, they don't fear anyone in the East, and I'll tell you what, if they go up against the Warriors, they're not going to fear the Warriors either. And I think Embiid and Simmons, they perform in big games. Like even Simmons is a rookie. It's amazing to me. It's probably my favourite series of the whole playoffs. The others I really don't give a stuff about. I don't know. This has got my juices flowing. This Philly team.
Ew.
Yeah, look, it's
my juices. I mean, no.
Yeah, okay. It's hard not to. As a patriotic Aussie, to not be rooting for all the Aussies that are in the playoffs, but particularly Ben, and you want him to get Rookie of the Year. I think a tip of the cap to Spo. This is a really gritty sort of team that is, they're competing, they're in games, and I think that I don't think many people probably would have had them playoff pegged at the start of the season. So credit to what Coach Spo has been able to do, and he's a class act, but. I'm the same. I think confidence is a massive X factor in the game of basketball. And these guys, this Philly team, and I think it starts from the coach as well. I'm not sure if you guys have watched any of Brett Brown's press conferences, but man, what a coach. Like, you'd line up to play for him. I think they're going to attract some. I think we might be surprised as to who they could pick up in free agency. Not that they need to tinker with things too much, but how are they ever out of a game between Redick, Bellinelli, Ilyasova, Saric, Covington? These guys are just sharpshooters. Even if you look at a third quarter and go, oh, they're out of it, the game is winnable. These guys have got depth, talent, and belief. They're definitely my short money favourite to represent the East in the Eastern Conference Finals, in the NBA Finals.
Tip of the cap to JJ Redick. Oh man, that massive three hit in the corner the other day. I feel like that was probably one of his biggest shots he's hit in his career. Like he was fantastic.
But just some of the ones that he hits curling off screens on angles are incredible. He's one of those rare guys who went from college sharpshooter to actually productive in the league, because we don't see it a lot. The college system's different. They come into the league and you got your Adam Morrisons and these guys, and it just doesn't convert. But credit to Redick. He's really he's a massive contributor to this team, and I think everybody's glad that he picked them in free agency.
I think he's glad.
Oh, yeah. Look, I think that, that would have come down to meeting with Brett Brown, like meeting with the management and buying into it. Simmons was still unproven. We didn't know what we were going to get from Embiid, how many games he'd play. It was obviously buying into the system, and I think that starts with Brown, and that's why I think they're going to be surprising in free agency.
Well, I think we're all sticking with the Philly on this one. Yeah, I think they're going to close this out today.
God, yes, they're going to pull away. I know Benson said it was tied up at halftime, but they'll pull away.
Yeah, I agree. Look, respect to Miami and their kick-ass. They still have the best Nike City jerseys in history, so we'll give them credit for that, but they're not winning the series.
Change into the guard.
Yes, sir.
Well, the final series in the Eastern Conference is one that's currently on its way in the fourth. It looks like Boston's pulling away. That is, of course, the Milwaukee Bucks, the seventh seed, taking on the Boston Celtics, the second seeds. All right. I've picked Milwaukee to win this series. I still think they win this series. I just want to say for the record, Bledsoe's comments are fucking trash, and just change my perspective of him as a player.
Well, man, honestly, you can't back up what he said.
How can he talk trash about Rozier when he's been outplayed by him? Showing nothing. He didn't even show signs of life until they headed back to Milwaukee. So, granted, he's played well the past 2 games, but this weird tension he's built up with Rozier, I don't know where the fuck that came from. But it's just retarded. It's just really, really dumb.
Yeah, it's flat out disrespectful to say that, in a press conference when asked about him. The guy that crossed you up, put you on skates and nailed essentially a game-winning shot on you. That guy, the guy who's been more energetic than you, playing better team basketball than you, averaging more points than you, that guy, show him some respect.
That aside, I have enjoyed the series. I just feel like, oh man, you know what? We got to talk about a really cool thing that happened when this Milwaukee team essentially went back to Milwaukee for the series. And that is the injection of Thon Maker.
Yeah, I mean, he's what a spark plug. I mean, we know he's a pogo stick. We know what he can do. His challenge on this roster has been minutes, but they're obviously leveraging what they're getting out of him, and man, he's what has he got? 10 blocks over those 2 games, those 2 home games.
Yeah, he's been playing well. Delhi's been playing well. He's back in the rotation now. I mean, this is, I suppose, the biggest thing. Going into this series, my question mark with Milwaukee was always the coaching. I was waiting for the changes to be made, and I'm glad they did it when they went back, because this series could have been over pretty quick. Yeah, I mean, the changes of injecting those guys into the rotation has just changed this series. I mean, it looks like Boston's got the win today, but I kind of expected that heading back to Boston. But man, it's a different type of series now.
Yeah, they need to get a little bit more in your face and a little bit grittier, and that's what Maker and Dellavedova give you. They give you that in your face. Sort of you're not getting a layup. I'm not going to make it easy for you. You're not getting that spacing, and I think that's what the Bucks needed against this Celtics team. Credit to them. I'm just doing a score update. Look, there's only 30 seconds to go in the game, and it does look like it's all over. But Milwaukee has stormed back to close the gap to 5. They were getting punished at one stage. They've had an 18-point fourth quarter to a Boston 12. I mean, there's no reason to suggest this doesn't go to 7, and there's no reason to suggest that the 7 isn't interesting. I mean, look, we've got a depleted Celtics team, and we've got an underperforming Bucks team. Giannis certainly hasn't lived up to his start of the season, and they've had coaching changes. But look, it still should be a competitive 7-game series.
Working for Boston is obviously bringing back Marcus Smart back to the lineup as well today. So I think that plays in the hand. I mean, I haven't seen any of the highlights or anything of today's game, but I'm assuming a lot of that went down today. And it just also gives Rozier a little bit more support, because Bledsoe is a pretty big, tough. I mean, he's a mini LeBron in stature, so not that he can't hold his own, but I just feel like Boston really needed someone who could bang back with Bledsoe.
Check this out. I mean, in 24 minutes, he's given them... I mean, I love Marcus Smart. I mean, he's erratic, and he'd be just a nightmare to coach, because I reckon he'd leave a huddle and then go to the opposite. But, I mean, look, in 24 minutes, he's given them 9 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, 3 blocks.
Wow.
Honestly, that's a series changer. That's not like a game changer. That's the guy who can win you a game or 2, which essentially will give you a series. So I bet Boston's glad that he's back.
The piece I've been a little bit disappointed with has been Jabari Parker.
Yeah, a bit of a milk carton, unfortunately, because I mean, look, today today I thought he's 17 and 8 in today, so that's probably more what you expect from him. But you know what, I don't know, man. I'd be very surprised if Parker's back next season with the Bucks, and he's almost like the forgotten man on the court. Like, when he scores, I get really excited because sometimes I forget he's on there. They don't really involve him very much. He's more of the guy that's corralling rebounds and creating himself. He doesn't seem like he's a part of their playmaking strategy.
No, not at all. They don't run plays for him, but I just find that him and Giannis don't work well on the court together too. Like I just tend to feel like they're running into the same spots. You know, they're slashing through the same lanes, like kind of getting in each other's way a little bit. So
I've noticed a lot of that as well. And I'll tell you what, I don't know if he's kept growing since he's been in the league, or maybe because we haven't seen him so much. Because I mean, the footage that we see of him is rehabbing, on specials on ESPN. But man, he's a big dude. Honestly, like when you see like Greg Monroe and Derek Favors against other people in huddles, you look at them and you go, wow, they're big guys. Jabari Parker's one of them. Like he's a massive human being. Yeah, I'm really excited. Look, I hope he goes to the Bulls, but he's someone that I'm going to follow in free agency with very keen eyes.
Is Vince back?
Sorry, I fell asleep at Marcus Smart.
Come on.
Just shit. Yeah. Jabari Parker. Sorry, you're going to ask where did I go?
Oh, no. I was going to say, what have your thoughts been on the Bledsoe trash talking?
I actually didn't see what he said, so...
it was just shade. Reporters were asking them, what about the play of the second-year Boston player? And he's like, who? And he's like, Terry Rozier. And he's like, who that? And just give him shade.
Oh, well, geez. I don't want to hate Eric Bledsoe.
I was the same.
I don't want to hate, but don't really. I mean, come on now. That's like, this guy gets injured falling out of bed, for Christ's sake. He's 1-0. Just shut your mouth and play well. Concentrate on what you're supposed to do for the Bucks. That's all.
Vince, are you sticking with Boston in this series?
I certainly am, and big props to Al Horford, who cops, like as I mentioned a few weeks ago, cops a lot of shit from Boston fans. I think he doesn't do enough. Playing great basketball in this series.
Yeah. You know what you're getting from Big Al? I mean, look, 21 points and 14 rebounds today. That's just Al Jefferson, man. Al Jefferson. That's not Al Jefferson. That's Al Horford.
Well, let's move to the Western Conference. And let's talk about the number 1 seed Houston Rockets and the 8 seed Minnesota Timberwolves. Houston currently leading the series after a massive 50-point quarter, was it? Did I read that right?
Yes.
3 games to 1. I am so happy for Timberwolves fans that they got 1 game on them. And we spoke about it on the last show, and we spoke about focus and Houston with their eyes on the prize a little bit too much before focusing on what laid ahead of them. And I think that caught up with them in that game they lost. Mad props to Derrick Rose, who's just been playing out of his skin. Why can't Wiggins rebound, Vince? Why does Derrick Rose have more rebounds than Andrew Wiggins?
All heart, baby. All heart.
Man, I tell you what. I watched that game and I was blown away, and then Houston start putting on the nitrous, and I was just like, okay, let me look at these stats, and I couldn't believe that Rose had out-rebounded Wiggins in this game.
Dude, look, for me, I really like the Minnesota Timberwolves. And so for me, it's more about what they're doing than the Rockets, because I hate the Rockets, because you know why. But what have I said about Jimmy Butler, even in his Chicago days? What have I said? Do you remember?
I remember.
Are you going to go on about how people are praising him like he's a superstar in the league?
No, I'm not. No, that is true, though.
Okay.
Well, this is not a player that will lead you to where you want to go. Okay, he's a very good player, but if they got this bloke in, Jimmy Butler, like he's the second coming of Michael Jordan and he's won bugger all, they treat him like a god there. This guy has not got the ability to lead a team to the promised land. And I'll tell you what, I'm looking at the bloody roster, I'm so pissed off at them all. The only guy that may have that ability is Karl Anthony Towns.
But even he's played pretty piss poor.
He has, but he's a playoff virgin too, so I'm going to give him a pass.
I was going to say, that's the best thing about this for Minnesota. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is a whole bunch of playoff experience for them, and they didn't get swept. Do you know what I mean? They didn't get swept. They got a game. They know what it takes now. They know now that seeding is very important in the NBA. They know that they can't drop games against shit teams through the season because this is what's going to happen.
Yes, but Jimmy Butler is still not the man to get you to the promised land. Here's my solution.
I think you're way hard on Jimmy Butler, man.
No, I'm not. Here's my solution.
Do you even like him?
I do like Jimmy Butler.
You just shit on him every time he comes out.
Don't ask him to come to my team and say, you're going to be the number 1 guy who's going to take us to the promised land, because he's not that type of player.
Solve the problem, Vince.
Vince.
Here's my solution.
He got them to the playoffs.
Shut up, Wayne, you goof. Call Popovich. He got them to the playoffs. Oh, give me a spell.
Vince.
You call Popovich.
You call Popovich and say, "Can you come?"
Here's Butler. Here's Butler. Yes. Here's Butler. Here's Wiggins. The only untouchable is Towns. You can have Butler, Wiggins for Kawhi Leonard and our next 3 first-round picks. Because Kawhi will get you there. Jimmy Butler will not.
No,
Ever.
I don't agree with that. I
do that trade in a heartbeat. I question the coaching. If I've got Karl Anthony Towns in the post, you know my whiteboard, you know what it looks like? It's pretty much after every timeout, we throw the ball into the really big, skilled, talented guy. And if he can't get a shot, we then go to plan B. And maybe plan B involves throwing it back into the really tall, talented, skilled guy. They do not use him enough.
Okay,
Do you know what, Benson?
so...
Hang on a sec, Wayne. Then I'll let you go on your little rant. Benson, I totally agree. They need to establish Carl inside big time.
They do.
But give him the big shots too. Do not look to Jimmy. I'm not saying Jimmy hasn't hit some big shots, but Jimmy is not of the mindset to carry this team. He has big games, yes. There's a difference from having big games and to keep doing it throughout the playoffs. Jimmy doesn't do it throughout the playoffs.
Aren't we seeing this during the playoffs though? Aren't we? Like what you're talking about is correct. Okay, what you're talking about is actually correct. But aren't we seeing?
Oh, shit, Wayne said I was correct. I'm getting off now because it won't get any better than this.
Look, but I mean, like, no one player is going to do it for you. No. There's not a team in the playoffs that is going to. It's got to come down to a team. That's why OKC is trailing in the series against Utah. So you keep harping on Butler.
Turn it up, Wayne, please.
Oh, what? You're out of your goddamn mind.
No doubt. But you put.
Let's stick with Houston, Minnesota.
Butler, so you're putting. Listen, you put Jimmy. Jimmy wants to be known in the same levels as the great two guards going around, right?
Sure. Doesn't every player?
Sorry?
Doesn't every player?
Oh, I don't know, but I know Jimmy does.
Guess
what? He's not. He's not. He's not good enough to lead the team. It's like Amare Stoudemire.
Oh, my goodness.
In his prime, was a very good player. Was he ever going to lead that team? No.
What games are you watching, man? They don't even make the playoffs. He doesn't push his rehab back and get back early.
Oh, great. I'm happy he's back early. Fantastic.
Well, that's what I'm saying, Vince. He's the one who put the fucking team on his back.
Put Kobe at that two-guard position and take Butler out.
Well, you can say that. Fucking put MJ on that team and doing much better.
But they're treating Butler like he's the second coming of MJ.
But that's on them. That's not on Butler. God.
But he doesn't perform.
You're holding prejudice against Butler because of other people's opinions of him.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
Like I said
You've done it every show.
Dense twit.
Fucking knob. Come on, get to your point.
Benson, did I not just say earlier he doesn't perform? It's on his performance. He can think he's got a 15-inch cock for all I care. I want to fucking see him perform in the playoffs. He doesn't do it enough. He has his odd big game, doesn't do it enough. They need, like Benson said, and I agree, throw it to Towns, get him established.
I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that.
Butler is your support player. He's not the guy to ride. Towns is.
I just think they run the risk of. I think they run the risk of losing Cat if they don't. He needs to feel like he's a franchise guy. He needs to, not only establish him for the good of the game and the good of his game, establish him for the good of the franchise. I mean,
thank you.
He's got. We said it 2 shows ago. He's got to get in there and demand it as well. I mean, I watched that last game and watched him flake out to the 3-point line as well. There's a little bit of onus back on Cat on this. Look, they're young. They're getting a taste. This is the first go around for a lot of these guys. So it's going to be a building process. Minnesota fans, I'm sorry, you're not winning shit this year. You're probably not winning shit next year either. But it's a process.
You're not winning shit with Jimmy being the number 1 guy.
Whatever. Anyway, this series is over next game anyway.
Yeah, a 50-point quarter. Let's digress for a second from talking about the Wolves. Man, holy shit, a 50-point quarter, and Harden's had a couple of 40-point games in this series as well. Man, he's look, they're not losing this series, but he's going to be hard to stop. Yeah, can't wait to watch the NBA Finals with a shit ton of ISO at the top and Harden jacking shit from 3 and refs giving him fucking superstar calls. It's going to be fantastic to watch. Fuck me. Some of the shit he gets away with.
Don't worry, it's just as the playoffs go on, Harden will disappear a bit more, just gradually, and Chris Paul will break a nail and miss a game.
Man, they can't even stay focused. I mean, they go up against a fucking playoff veteran team. I think they're going to struggle a bit.
Curry's going to come back and they're going to get swept.
Well,
hello.
let's move to the next series. The Oklahoma City Thunder versus the Utah Jazz. Utah, big game yesterday. Big game. They lead the series 3-1. I mean, we spoke on Bledsoe throwing shade at Rozier. How about Westbrook shade at Rubio?
Yeah, it worked well for him too, didn't it?
So, I mean, we spoke about this before we recorded, a few days ago, and it was basically like, the problem with Westbrook coming out and saying that, it shows that his focus is not on the team. Like, his focus is on stopping Rubio. The problem is, you're playing a complete team right now. You're playing probably, I don't know, man. I just feel like this Utah squad's one of the best teams in the league right now. And that shows through their defense. Their offense was just clicking the other day.
You know when you emphasise teams, was that a shot at me?
No, why?
I just felt like it.
Really?
Carry on.
Oh.
Yeah, no, I think it was a shot. But go.
Oh, no. Not intentional, but I'll take it. If you're an OKC fan, you're in trouble because, I mean, Melo hasn't even shown up. That last game, Paul George, pretty piss poor. I mean, he let Ingles all up in his face, but he didn't produce. They all just looked like they were lost.
I watched that OKC team, honestly, and I had this discussion with an OKC fan. Do you think they enjoy playing together, those three?
No.
No, it doesn't really seem like.
And I think that's half of Melo's problem. Like, I think if they're winning, I don't think because this fan goes, Melo can't handle being a third option. I'm like, but dude, if it's winning and your ball movement's all crisp and you guys win 55, 60 games, he's not going to care because you're going to be, that's just how it works. Well, I think anyway, but they don't enjoy playing together. And this is why Paul George is going to leave. Like I said, they needed to win 55, 60 for him to come back.
Yeah, I agree. Like we said at the start of the year, or at least I said at the start of the year, I didn't want to see triple-double Westbrook this year. Do you know what I mean? He got more help this season than what he had last year. He didn't need to be that guy. I mean, look, it's great. It's a great accomplishment. I don't want to take anything away from that because he is a beast. Like, he is, but he's not playing winning basketball right now because that shit's great during the regular season, but you hit playoffs and this is what happens. I mean, you can't have... Utah have so many pieces and, like, their biggest... for me, like, their biggest... what's what I'm looking for? Like, advantage on Utah is probably Stevens down in the paint. They don't use him. And in return, Utah throws so many bigs at him. Like, Gobert's playing him well. Favors is playing him well. And then you've got Melo who's not rebounding at all.
Yeah, they just don't have the depth either. And I think, when it comes to the salary cap and what they can possibly do, if Paul George was to re-sign and Melo was to stay, I mean, that's three big salaries that really throw in what they've thrown at Adams as well. They're stuck with what they've got. And I think, the astute player manager is going to sense that as well. And this is as good as they're probably going to be for the next couple of years if the roster stays the same because of cap restrictions. They're not going to go over. They're not going to spend. Oklahoma is a small market team. I mean, in terms of ticket sales and merch and things like that, they're not going to throw big bucks and go over the cap. So those guys are going to be looking at this roster saying this is it. And they're, like Joe Ingles was talking to the guys on TNT saying that, our depth chart, numbers 1 through 15, we're all ready to go. We're a team. Whereas OKC don't have that luxury. They're maybe 6, 7 deep at best. Yeah. It's a tale of two totally different systems, two totally different teams, and as an OKC fan, I think it's disappointing because I think this is your peak for the next 4 or 5 seasons.
Donovan doesn't make any changes as well. I mean, I said it at the start of this series. There's no changes. That game 4, he made no changes whatsoever. No tweaks. Just let him play it out, and it was evident. I mean, that crowd was freaking bonkers. The third quarter felt like a fourth quarter, and then you had the frustration levels hit pretty high in the end of the fourth, and OKC players like lashing out.
Some people are real cool, calm, collected under pressure. I don't know if he's cool, calm, collected under pressure, or if he's white Tyronn Lue.
Yeah, I don't think he's a good coach at all. I've said it before. Vince likes him, but I don't like him.
Yeah, I do like him. I don't think. Look, personnel-wise, I don't think he can make a lot of changes on the court. They just don't have the depth. But I think he's a good coach. I don't have an issue with his coaching. But can I just say another good landing spot for Jabari Parker would be if Paul George leaves OKC. Or not.
Yeah. No. I think he would definitely benefit playing next to Adams, and I don't know.
But the thing is, look, I know a lot of players respect Russell. I don't know if they want to play with him.
I was just about to say that.
Oh yeah, I think that's a given. I don't know if you'd want to play with him either.
Yeah, I think that sounded dirty, but I let it go.
It's
I was waiting for someone to jump in. He could give you his triple double.
Now the series, that's terrible. That's terrible.
You know why they call him Beastbrook?
I don't want to know.
Oh boy.
The series goes back to OKC now. I mean, look, Utah have shown that they can win in OKC. Do you think this series ends there, or do you think OKC get another game on them?
Oh, I really, my heart says Utah will take it. My brain, as small as it is, says I think OKC might just fire up a bit and take it. So I think OKC take the next one.
Stu?
Yeah, I think that they could get one at home, and I think it goes back to Utah. I can see it going to 6.
I think Utah are just in their head now. They've got the mental edge on them now. After 2 big games in Utah, I mean, the body language and what I saw from the players, like in that last game, I think they're ready to walk.
Man, Utah are just... I mean, I know we've said it, and it's been, it's actually been written about, which I didn't know, about how many people compare them to the Spurs in terms of their depth and their teammateship and the way that they move the ball and defend. But man, they're just like, they're bench, like these players, you forget that they've got them, and like Jerebko comes on and gives them good minutes, and then they'll rotate through Favors and Gobert at the centre depending on the pace, and then they've got O'Neal coming on as a sharpshooter to help the 2-guard position. Like, these guys they're such a solid team. Look, they're going to be a second-round threat, let alone taking care of the OKC Thunder in the first round. But you got to watch them in the second as well.
And old Jingle and Joe's been shooting the ball great, and also just send a tape of Donovan Mitchell to Jimmy Butler, just how to get it done in the playoffs.
Mitchell is seriously. I hope they do give the rookie MVP.
Same.
I honestly, like, he's fantastic. Like, he's pulling off Westbrook. He's pulling off Westbrook moves on Westbrook, like, ridiculous.
He's better. He is, honestly. For my money, if I had to start a team, I'm taking Mitchell. He is such a great player. I can't even overstate that. He's a generational talent. It's incredible how good he is and how good he's going to be. He's amazing.
That's the ridiculousness of Westbrook's comment about Rubio. I mean, Rubio had a great game, dropped the triple-double. I'm so happy for him getting this playoff experience and getting that big game in a series. Like, he really does deserve it. But Westbrook's comments were so dumb because it's like, if there's anyone on that team Westbrook should be focusing in on and stopping, it's Mitchell, and he has not done that.
But what does that tell you, Wayno, about Westbrook? It's all about me.
Yeah, 100%.
Because he took it. It is. It's me. Oh, the guy, like, he should have went, you know what, I'm going to Mitchell. Rubio's, yes, I respect him, he's dangerous, but I'm going to Mitchell because he's making them hum right now.
Yeah, 100%, Vince. 100%. We can't agree on two things.
We've got to stop agreeing, Wayne.
Two things this show. I feel dirty.
Yeah, I'm dirty.
Just one last thing before we jump off this series. I don't know about you guys, but for me, it felt like this underlying tone to this series. Like, I wanted Utah to win this series because I have to believe, almost like a moral standpoint, like, I have to believe that a team is better than, singular players, if that makes sense.
No?
Okay. Well.
Oh, that feels better.
And we're back.
I know what you mean.
It's like a double-sided sword.
It is. We'll jump off from that series and to one that has just finished. The Pelicans advancing to the second round of the playoffs, defeating the Portland Trailblazers in a sweep.
Yeah, they didn't they?
Who would have seen all that coming?
You didn't see it coming.
I called it. I called the series, you idiot.
Listen, I said it on the Courtside Facebook page. Had I have known that scrub Boogie Cousins was going to go down, and you were going to turn that, you were going to turn that into Mirotic and Okafor. I mean, the legend that is. Vince and I would never have made this bet.
I like the fact that someone on the Courtside Facebook page actually thought you were serious when you called Cousins a scrub.
I missed that, did they?
Hilarious. It's like, They got like a little defensive. How could you call it outrageous?
Was it Yosemite Sam, was it? Jeez.
Yeah, I was like, obviously don't listen to the show enough. Anyway, Pelicans, sweet.
Yeah, we don't care.
Playoff Rondo.
I love playoff Rondo.
Playoff Rondo is a phenomenon.
Well,
Drew
look,
Holiday. Drew motherfucking Holiday.
yeah.
Oh, wow. Oh,
Honestly. Like I said it on the Facebook page, like and I had a couple of conversations with other people. I mean, look, he was an all-star in Philly. We know he's good, but this is leveling up. Like he's just evolved into an offensive and defensive as well. Just a really solid star. Like and again, like it's hard to say wow because he was an all-star, but if you check the all-star rosters and the selections at the time, I mean, he was like the Jamal McGlaw all-star, but
Sure.
maybe not that bad, but not Brad Miller all-star, but
He's flourishing. Sorry.
do you think we could send a tape to Jimmy Butler of Holiday's play?
God.
how many tapes? This guy's going to open his post office box. All these, who the fuck's B. Germano? What are all these things?
No, he's flourishing at the two guard. He is absolutely flourishing. It helps he's playing alongside Rondo. Like, I think that helps 100%. But, man, like, yeah, I said at the start of the year, people can go back and listen to the show, like, he's playing. This squad's good, man.
Let's not go back and listen to any of your predictions for the Pelicans. Thanks.
Isn't it interesting? A team that has a lot of weapons has a point guard that doesn't shoot a lot and just sets them all up. Interesting. Yeah,
And they go to their super athletic big guy nearly every single time down the court.
yes, it works. Can work.
Anyway.
Gentry, how he keeps getting jobs, you have no idea.
Dude, that series got him re-signed.
It did too, and it's not going to end well, let me tell you.
Look, you guys have got some slap bets to pay up.
We do.
So you need to sort that out. Sort that out. Post it on the Facebook page.
I'm not going to film it.
You got to film a post that.
I'll slap my ass on film. That's what you're going to get.
You're disgusting. Let's move to the final matchup in the Western Conference. The number 2 seed, Golden State Warriors versus number 7, San Antonio Spurs. Golden State 3-1 in this series. Some thoughts?
Yeah. Well, it's been a valiant effort. I mean, when you look at the roster and you look at what's going on and you notice that the Golden State Warriors are playing LaMarcus Aldridge, it's a challenge. And like anybody playing 1-on-5, you are going to struggle. The fact that LaMarcus won one game, I'm proud of him. And yeah, that's all I can say about that. Well done, LaMarcus. I got your back.
Vince.
Look, Spurs have had a magnificent run. The Leonard era is over. They've done well winning one game. But it's all downhill from here. And I think we all knew the Warriors were going to just dismantle them. So it's done. It's dusted. Go home, Spurs. You're drunk.
Playoff Draymond Green's also a thing at the moment as well. He had a pretty subdued kind of a season, but he's everywhere this series, and I think he's just warming up.
I mean, I know Steph's out. He was back for last game, right, for a bit?
No, he's not back till a couple of games. I reckon second round, a couple of games in, maybe.
Oh, okay. Look, I'm not.
Was he? I could be wrong, but
I thought he played a little bit.
I don't think they played him. I saw him on the bench. Hang on, I'm just checking. No minutes.
No minutes, okay, cool. Yeah, look, I'm just a little bit... I suppose I haven't been blown away with Golden State this year as far as their focus. I know they finished second in the West, and, but with the roster they have, I mean, they should be in the top 3, really. I just worry about their... Not worried about the focus. Well, I am worried about their focus. I'm not a fan, so I don't care if they lose, but I didn't think that dropping a game to San Antonio was acceptable. I thought they should have ended that series there and there. I mean...
You this is why you annoy me.
Oh, here we go.
You know why it is acceptable?
Why?
Because it's San Antonio.
So what?
They were never... You really don't think they were going to get one game? This is a Popovich-run team.
Mate,
They're always going to get one game. Carry on with your rant. Go on.
Well, look, they've got no choir this year. They've barely got Parker on the court. They lost their damn coach. And what's the Warriors' excuse? I mean, they shouldn't have lost that game. Like, that's ridiculous. I mean, this is the playoffs now. The playoffs have started. I mean, Steve Kerr's been stressing all year about this team and them, switching it on come playoff time. That doesn't exist. That doesn't happen.
He's bluffing.
I didn't think the loss was acceptable. They should have taken that game. It was ridiculous. But look, they'll go on. They'll finish it off today. I think they played about 12:30 our time. So look, really sad what happened to Popovich. His wife passed. That's pretty nasty thing to happen. I mean, this team, man. Wow, talk about falling apart quick. What a year they've had, right?
Look, I think we've called it for the last 6 years, Wayne. And we finally got it right.
Yeah.
The run's over.
Vince, give yourself a pat on the back.
Look, massive respect to this franchise. I mean, just so professional, so well run, so well coached. They just find these gems from all over the world. But like all good teams, eventually the run stops. But geez, they can't complain. I mean, 5 championships? Yeah, that's enough for the Spurs. Yeah. Come on. Let the Lakers have a turn, for crying out loud.
I could see them.
Sorry?
But you know what the most annoying thing is? I could just see them pulling one out of their hat and rebuilding really quick, unloading.
Oh, they will.
Unloading Kawhi Leonard, just the talent they have as far as scouting players and making trades, making moves. They don't really make bad moves, or none that we've really seen. But it's just man, I could so easily see them unload Kawhi Leonard, during the draft this year, and then coming back and be 5th seed.
They totally could. If they got the right phone calls for a team that wanted Kawhi, and maybe even somebody else. Maybe there was a team that needed a point guard, and they unload Patty, who I think his contract's very tradable, and he's a player that is just waiting for and he's shown that when he's given minutes, he's very productive. They could really retool pretty quickly, and again, Vince mentioned they draft well. It doesn't matter what number they draft at, it's going to be good. So they could definitely be back in the picture this time next year. And
don't worry, if they go to the lottery, they'll be getting the number 1 pick, because that's just what they do.
Yes. Well, that's a wrap on the playoffs so far. Look, next time we record, I think we'll be heading into the second round with some matchups, so that'll be exciting. Just an update, it is 69-87 in the fourth. Philly leads Miami. Looks like it's all over Red Rover. I want to thank everyone for listening. I want to thank you guys for joining me on Anzac Day for a special recording. And boys,
I just want to say, if I was starting a team, I'd choose Lonzo Ball.
I just want to say, if you're a Sydney sider, show your support, get yourself a season ticket, or at least make sure you are at Kudos Bank Arena to watch our future championship-winning Sydney Kings this season. It's huge. I mean, look, Bogut coming to the NBL signifies the retiring of his NBA career. Mm-hmm. I think he's criminally underrated. I could do a Courtside Presents and do a whole thing on Bogut. I'm a huge fan, always have been. But I think we had a massive Australian basketball had a massive win this week, and it's worth mentioning and credit to the organisation, the league, for making it happen.
I was a little bit mad about it.
No way.
Why?
I still feel like he could play another year or two in the league.
Yeah, look, his reasoning at the press conference, I mean, the 82 games, the flights, his wife and kids and things like that. Like, I get the grind. I think he's, it could be the rejuvenation machine, the easier schedule, on his body. I mean, this is a big man who, he hasn't had the breakdown of the body. I mean, look, he's been injured, but he's had impact injuries. Like, he's been taken out by Amare. He's had unfortunate collisions that have popped his knee out and things like that. He's not a guy whose body, like an Andrew Bynum or a back like a Dwight Howard, whose body's betrayed him. I think the rest will do him good. I think his 2-year contract's just the start. I could definitely see him playing a couple more.
Yeah, it's a lot of money to pay for tickets to watch him sit on the bench, though. Injured.
Yeah, you're a dickhead.
No, I'm just stirring you guys.
You're still a dickhead. I will go to every Sydney Kings Melbourne United game that's played at Tysense. I can't wait. I'm still on a high. Cannot wait. We've got Julius Randle. We've got Jerome Randle. Still can sign 2 more imports. Yep. Kevin Lish just has to get open. He should not touch the ball running the offense. I've still got Brad Newley. And I'm just looking forward to the championships. Thank you very much.
Well, you can catch all the Court Night Madness at the website www.crts.
What?
Did I say?
You just said Court Night.
Did I? Did I really? Oh.
You playing Fortnite while you're recording?
You could listen to this at night time, I suppose. That's a bit weird.
Court night.
Why would people listen to Vince before going to bed?
That's true. I'll get some Randy. Get some.
Oh boy. Let me try that again.
For the dub on the workbench.
Oh, please stop.
Yes.
Well, you can catch all the Courtside madness. Well, I nearly said it again. All the Courtside madness at the website www.crtsde.podbean.com. Oh, fuck it. Fuck the outro. Fuck the outro. Yeah, it's Anzac Day. I'm out. Peace.
Christ. Lest we forget.
Go Pies. Go Collingwood.
Watch out! Here it comes. Watch out! Here it comes. Watch out!
Ball